Good afternoon. We literally just did this one, and I thought, well, I mentioned go ahead and doing a compare and contrast. I thought, well, it's a better time for it. So it's a good time to do it. I mean, I can put this stuff off forever. I'm going to stick with the same style of glasses so we get it. The only difference is going to be is this is 100 proof. I've got 3 bottles, as you can see, of the Jim Beam 8-year-old. I paid $27.09 for that one. But the little 200 mils here I bought at a little liquor store, I couldn't pass it up, and they got a couple more left yet. But and I paid a little more than I'd like to for them. I paid, I think, $8 a piece for them, which is kind of expensive. But my way of thinking, but these, I digress. These are 43% alcohol by volume. And then this, of course, is the new Extra Age Jim Beam, and it's the same thing, 43% alcohol by volume. Because Jim Beam, the Extra Age, won the award this year. They've been touting it on their commercials on TV. This is 100 proof, so it's going to be slightly different. I am not going to get into the Devil's Cut on this one. I like the Devil's Cut, but it's a bit harsh. And this is 45% alcohol by volume. But I personally like the flavor profile on the Devil's Cut. We'll have to do that another day. So, and I'm not going to go into the Knob Creeks I have. I've got 2 unopened and an open Knob Creek. I got a regular, then of course a Barrel Select, and the Barrel Select that's opened. And then of course I got 2 Bookers, 1 opened, 1 unopened. And of those, I've never had, believe it or not, the Bakers or the Basil Hayden. I've had I take that back. I've had a glass of Baker's, but I've never had the Basil Hayden. Or a Dram, whatever you want to call it, of the Baker's ones. Beam makes other products. I mean, I've had a couple of the flavored ones. I forget what the cinnamon one or whatever it was. I don't know. I'm not going to digress to that. Anyway, let's get back to where we're at. We've got this full of that. I'm going to go ahead and pour a little of this into here. This is the Extra Age. We'll give it a little bit more. They'll get drinking where you look at. Now this is technically the award-winning one bottle. And I bought the 200 mils. And then this one I'm just opening, but I've already drinking, listen to my English. I've already drank 2 of these, 2 of these. They had 6 on the shelf, like I said, they still got 2 left, and next time I'm in that neck of the woods, I'll probably buy them just for giggles. And then, of course, I had the other 750 there that I gave Barton Scott for Christmas. Then I bought this one, and this one actually, excuse me, I'm recovering from bronchitis, so the hard days are behind me now. It's feeling much better now. This one actually has the highest rated North American whiskey label on it, 93 Jim Beam bourbon, compared to several top selling North American whiskeys. For additional information, please go to jimbeam.com/black. And it's the Beverage Testing Institute Incorporated 2008 Professional Tasting, Chicago, Illinois. So that kind of gives you an idea of who the tasters was in this case. The trademarks are property of respective owners. Yeah. So anyway, oh, I get this. Now, I'm curious as to if this 8-year-old is going to taste like the Extra Age. This does not have an age statement. To my knowledge, they reduced it to 6 in foreign markets, and then it's been eliminated altogether, and it just says Extra Aged. So, and on the front it says carefully aged in charred oak for exceptional smooth flavor and a full body taste. So we'll tackle these 2 first and just see. Now we'll start with the Extra Aged. %, is smooth, it's mellow. I know those are words that are poo-poo words. You get more of a caramel flavor on it. You get more of a vanilla caramel. A little bit of spice there. but everything is much more even tempered. I don't really get the fruitiness. It's more on the spicy end with this one. But the spices are not a strong spiciness. And you're not getting a strong heavy spice with it. You're getting a good light spice, cinnamon, a little clove on it. And it's just kind of a good, subtle but firm washing over your palate. It's not by any means overwhelming you. Give me just a second. I'm going to cut. I'll come back. I'm going to go get water. Okay, now I'm back. Got water. Now let's go for the 8-year-old. Spiciness ratchets up on it. It's a little bit more buttery in texture on your tongue. The vanilla is more assertive. The caramel's there, but it's not as nearly as dominant as it is in this one. It's got both of them. Both of them bring that vanilla and caramel to the table, but the spiciness on this one is more subtle, and more subtle on this one. Whereas the 8-year-old, the spiciness is a little more bold. You get a little bit more of the spiciness. You get a little bit more of flavor, and it's just a little bit more creamy than this one is. We'll do the legs, but it's really doubtful I want to see much of a difference. I don't expect to see much of a difference between them myself. Well, I stand corrected. These are running just a little bit slower on the 8-year-old than they are on the extra aged. I didn't think there would be that much of a difference, to tell you the truth. That explains the butteriness and the washing over the palate. This is more of a complete palate coater than this one is. And I get a tad bit, my English again, I get a little more fruitiness coming through with this one than I do with this one. So let's hit them again. This is a good solid sipper. The standard extra age, it's not at all like the white. You can sit and sip it. You can sit and taste it. The nose is much lighter. Oh yeah, the nose is much lighter on that one than it is on this one. The spiciness on this one is more developed than it is in this one. Crunchy nuts, I'm sorry. It's a bad habit I have. It's hard bad on your teeth. Oh, you can just smell the difference when it comes to your nose. The nose, before you even get to the palate, the nose is inviting into the palate. It is that. It's more rich than that one. This is not bad. This is not bad at all. This just has a more rich nose to it. get the caramel. Caramel comes forward. Spiciness. That rye bread. It's got a rye bread feel to it. A little bit of coconut, just like with the 100 proof. Coconut and cherries, just like with the 100 proof, only it doesn't have the alcohol kick the 100 proof has. And it doesn't have that sort of oh granddad. I sort of get a granddad, oh granddad feel with that one. Not that that's a bad thing. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. But this one I don't get it with. This one's much different. Good medium finish. A little longer with this one than this one. Yeah. I think that's the proof. Ratcheting this one up. Now, I gave this one an 86. Oh. Let me see if I can get that with this. I could drink that all day long. You can feel the proof on that one. It still drinks below 100 proof to me, but it is stronger than that or that. This one is just a little bit more rich all around. I even think it's probably a little bit more rich than this is. It's bringing a lot more brown sugar, if you will, caramel, vanilla, coconut, a little bit of cherry, just like this one. I mean, we're getting a lot of the same profile here, and you would expect that. But this one's more buttery. It has a much more buttery mouth texture to it than either one of these do. It completely coats the palate. Excuse me. From the sweetness on the tip of the tongue, which these glasses help deliver, to the spiciness to the side and to the back of the tongue. No alcohol detectable. We get the cinnamon, nutmeg, rye bread, an almost yeasty taste to it, which Jim Beam's kind of known for. And you get it with it. You get it with both of these, actually. But it's more prominent in this one. And I think that's the extra years in the barrel this one has over this one, to my way of thinking. This one delivers a lot of the same thing, only it's more subtle and it's more muted. It's still a good drinker. It's still a standalone whiskey. You don't have to mix it. You don't have to put ice cubes in it. It'll stand by itself. But it's not quite bringing you the depth of flavor and balance this one is. This one's bringing you the depth of flavor and balance, the 100 proof over here, but it is providing a little bit more alcohol. And if that alcohol, the coconut really screams forward on this one. The coconut and the fruitiness is a little bit more forward on this one, whereas this one's bringing much more of that caramel and vanilla traits that you often get. And maybe just a little bit of barrel char. And you probably get a little bit of that in both of these. It's just a little bit there. It's not really a noticeable thing too much per se, but you do kind of get just a little bit of that flavor. This one, no. Finishes, they're all about the same medium length finish. This one might last just a little longer than these two. The depth and the consistency of finish will go with the 8-year-old. This would be second, this would be third. If I'm going to rank these, I'm not even looking at the camera, I'm thinking so hard on all this. If I was going to rank them, honestly, these are two different by nature, literally. They're similar, but they're different by nature. That proof makes a difference there. So I'm really not going to pick one of these over the other because I could sit down and drink both of these. I'd have no issues. And this one is just slightly behind. Ever so slightly behind. Ever so slightly behind. So we got these, and this one. Just right up there, but it's not quite. If you want a more subtle, if you were going to mix, this would be the way to go with this one. Go with a, I don't know. I'm not even going to give you mixing shit because I don't know nothing about mixing. I used to dump it in Coke, and that's all I ever dumped the stuff in. Occasional ginger ale. So I'm not even going to give mixing advice. But this one, I would think, because of the little lighter, subtler flavors, would probably overall mix, actually, honestly, a little bit better than these two. And this one, you're not covering up the flavor like you would in the Jim Beam White by mixing it. This one here, if you mix, you're actually probably going to add to whatever you're mixing it into instead of so much trying to cover up the flaws in it. I wouldn't mix these two, but everybody teach their own. You could do it. That will be your choice. And, just so we know, this is curious. I did just now see the date. Now I can't even see it. How did they do there? So this one was bottled in I think this was bottled in 2010. If I'm reading that right. So, anyway, now this one here I don't know about. I can't see the marks on it. I'm sure they're there somewhere. I'm not an expert at reading all the marks yet, but I've got a better understanding of them. They all differ a little bit. Anyway, that'll be it for this video. I gave this one an 86. I will give this one an 86 as well. I will give this one an 83. They're all three good products. They're all three quality Jim Beam products. Nothing wrong with any of them. Definitely go-getters. I mean, you're not going to hurt yourself. And for the price. This one was $27.09. If you can find it, you're going to find it about $30 after tax, generally. If you find it, it's about $32. I've seen it. The new extra aged, I'm not sure. I paid, I think, $6 or $7 for the little 200. I'm not priced. This is a liter bottle, by the way, not a 750. All of these that I've ever seen has been liter bottles, or the 200 mils. These I paid a little over $8 a piece for after tax. And I don't remember what I paid for the Devil's Cut. I think it was 11 or 12 bucks for the 375 there after tax. We'll deal with that another day. That's a monster all on its own. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I know it's probably a little long too. I appreciate you coming and watching. Thank you very much. Remember, the spirit in your glass is not running from you. Take your time, sip it, and enjoy it. You'll be better for it. Everyone, have a good day.